Hello everyone, it's me TT aka Queen Solomon. Today on my quick minute words of wisdom, I want to briefly share with you the power of prayer and having faith over fear. I remember a few years ago in 2018, my husband and I just returned home from Bible class. About a half an hour later, there was a devastating shooting in my neighborhood. One of our neighbors who lived right down the street from us, home was shot at multiple times by a violent gang. The shooting was so forceful, we heard it from our home. During this incident, our neighbors were home at the kitchen table helping their children with their homework, and their daughter got shot and died. Also, as the gunmen were fleeing the scene, one of our neighbors saw them leaving, grabbed his gun, and shot at them, killing one of the passengers who was only a teen. This was very horrifying, I am sure, to my neighbors and terrifying to me. The main reason being is that in all my life I have never come that close to death and have been blessed to reside where there was no violence, especially not gunfighting. So after this incident, and because it was so close to my home, I began to suffer from PTSD. Normally I went walking 2 to 3 times a week and decided to continue with my exercise, though this horrific incident had just happened. However, one evening on my way back from my walk that usually lasted about an hour and a half, it began to get dark. I normally avoid walking at night, yet sometimes it intentionally happens. What made this night different was that the shooting had just occurred the night before, and I had spoken to the police who were on the scene asking questions earlier that day. Anyway, as I was heading back toward my home, the sun was quickly setting, causing me to panic. Due to the recent shooting, I was so afraid that I could barely walk. The fear had overtaken my body. I remember something happening similar many years ago when I was a child, as my neighbors were yelling obscenities at one another, while I stood in the middle. Due to their loud verbal insults, I began to panic. At the time, I was on my roller skates, yet I became so paralyzed with fear, I could not move. Yet fearing for my safety, I grabbed a hold of the fence beside me and pulled myself to safety. I am grateful that their angry words did not lead to violence, yet that is one incident I have never forgotten. Anyway, back to me heading home from my walk. So as the sun set, it became dark and the streetlights came on. Being deeply afraid, I abruptly stopped in my tracks and cried out to God. I told him how scared I was and to comfort me as tears rolled down my face. After that prayer, before I could take one step, immediately my fear was gone. I was so relieved. Not only was my fear gone, I enjoyed my walk back and even stopped to sit on a bench at a park taking in the lovely view. Isn't God good? Soon after that incident, God blessed us with a new home in a quiet and peaceful neighborhood. I told this story to show that when we have faith, as I did, which led me to pray, that our faith can overcome our fears. So do not be afraid of anything, as our peace and protection from God is only a prayer away when we trust in Him and obey.